all of you all that are gonna go home and write a biography on how wrong this is, you guys can kick rock.
Candace Parker just sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA fan base. Her recent player tier ranking didn't just ruffle feathers, it set off a social media wildfire. And at the center of it all, Angel Reese. Candace Parker, one of the most respected voices in women's basketball, placed Angel Reese in the C tier, a classification typically reserved for role players or developing talent. Not B tier, not fringe all-star, C tier. It was a move that immediately ignited backlash, especially from Reese's loyal supporters, who see her as the face of a new generation. But Candace Parker wasn't backing down, not even a little. She stood behind her evaluation with conviction and basketball logic, arguing that while Reese might be grabbing double-doubles, her impact on winning games just doesn't hold up. And when you dig deeper into the numbers, beyond the surface stats, Parker's stance begins to make more sense than people want to admit. The reality is simple. Double-doubles look impressive in headlines, but if your team keeps losing while you're stacking them, how valuable are they really? Parker's ranking may have upset the internet, but it pulled back the curtain on something much more serious: a growing divide between hype and actual production. If you're starting to see the truth, drop baby giraffe in the comments. Let's dive in.
In terms of being above, you have to be able to have the ability to carry a team, be a 1 or 2 option. I think Angel Reese is fantastic at her role, which is offensive rebounding. She showed and demonstrated so much growth in that first year. I think that this is my tier.
Now, let's break this down from the beginning. Imagine being a young star like Angel Reese, riding the wave of media attention, social media highlights, and growing brand endorsements. Fans chant your name. The spotlight follows you. The league pushes your image forward, hoping to capitalize on the newfound interest in women's basketball. And then Candace Parker, a 7-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, Olympic gold medalist, and champion, steps up and says, "Not so fast." In a ranking that featured household names and rising talent, Parker grouped Reese into a tier that many fans felt was flat-out disrespectful. She placed her in the same tier as injured rookie Cameron Brink, someone who hasn't even had the chance to show what she can do due to injury. Reese's fans were stunned. How could someone averaging double-doubles every night be considered anything less than elite? But Parker wasn't being shady. She was being honest.
Wilson, reigning MVP, couple Defensive Player of the Years, 2 championships. If there was something higher than S, I would definitely put her up there. But Napheesa Collier, she's up there with top tier with Asia. Just her ability to play on both sides of the ball, pump fake, she's gonna make you choose wrong.
Parker broke it down with the poise and clarity of someone who has lived the game from every angle. She made it clear, to be ranked in the upper tiers, a player has to do more than grab rebounds and post decent stats. They have to carry a team. They need to be a legitimate number 1 or number 2 option. The kind of player that makes everyone around them better. Reese, in Parker's eyes, hasn't shown she can do that yet. Sure, Parker gave Reese credit for her motor and hustle on the offensive glass. But at the end of the day, Parker sees Reese as a high-energy role player, not a franchise cornerstone. And that difference is critical. While players like Angel Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and Napheesa Collier were placed in the top S tier for their leadership, impact, and dominance, and Caitlyn Clark earned a well-deserved A tier for transforming Indiana's offense, Reese found herself among those still trying to prove they belong.
This is where it gets tricky. Caitlyn Clark is at an A level. I think in time she's gonna raise up to that S, but in order to put her at that level, she's gotta have a couple more years. So I'll put Kelsey Plum at the A level. 2-time champ, now took on the challenge to be number 1 option in LA. I would say KP is definitely in that tier. I would love to put Sabrina Ionescu in that A range. She got that elusive championship. She's one of the best shooters in the WNBA, if not the best shooter in the WNBA.
The internet responded with full-blown chaos. Within minutes of the ranking, Reese's most passionate fans flooded social media, calling Parker a hater, a gatekeeper, and everything in between. The comments rolled in nonstop. Tweets, TikToks, Instagram stories, all insisting that Parker had disrespected a future superstar. But when asked to explain her decision, Parker didn't flinch. She didn't snap back or escalate. She calmly appeared on the Good Follow podcast and clarified what everyone needed to hear. There's no hate here. I love Angel. I would never attack anyone personally. This is about basketball, not character. She emphasized that her critique wasn't personal. It was about what wins games. Parker has been around long enough to know the difference between highlight plays and winning plays. And she knows which one matters more when the playoffs roll around.
Uh-oh, Candace Parker. You've upset the Reese's Pieces and they're not happy about it. They're gonna be coming after you any second. Oh, they're already coming after you. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Candace Parker asked to put certain players in a tier list. You have the S tier, you have the A tier, you have the B tier, and you have the C tier. And where Candace Parker put Angel Reese on this list and her explanation about it, it has upset a large number of the Reese's Pieces.
The thing that made Parker's words hit harder than any angry tweet or comment thread? Her resume. She's not just another analyst or talking head trying to make noise. Candace Parker is the blueprint. She's someone who's played, won, and elevated every team she's been part of. When she ranks players, it comes from decades of experience and an elite basketball IQ. And her rankings revealed her values: leadership, team impact, efficiency, and winning. That's why Caitlyn Clark was ranked so highly. Parker recognized Clark's ability to completely rewire Indiana's offensive system, to elevate her teammates, and to lead a young team despite all the pressure. Meanwhile, Reese's flashy stats were being questioned, and not just by Parker.
Chicago Sky, y'all stink, bro. Y'all, look, there's trash and then there's trash. You know what I'm saying? But look, man, the Chicago Sky got destroyed by the stud butts. Everybody watches the stud butts.
As the conversation continued, other analysts began stepping in, and many of them agreed with Parker. The basketball world started to have an uncomfortable conversation. People began realizing that there's a huge difference between collecting stats and changing games. And one question kept echoing through the debate. What is it that Candace Parker sees in Angel Reese's game that her fans refuse to admit? The answer wasn't personal. It was about fundamentals, winning habits, decision-making under pressure.
Angel Reese, part 53, let's get it!
We love pray-ups.
Bang!
I heard she wanted to dye her hair, and the stylist said, "What color you want?" And she said, "Butter pecan!"
And then it all unraveled in one night. Against the Minnesota Lynx, Angel Reese had her worst game of the season, and possibly her career. 9 turnovers. Yes, you heard that right. 9. Reese didn't just have a rough outing, she imploded, and suddenly the entire basketball world had proof of what Parker had been talking about.
The brakes beaten off of her. She had 9 turnovers and was just an awful. If you watch the game, she was awful.
It was more than just a bad game. It was a turning point. Chicago was holding its own early. The Sky were playing competitive basketball, even giving the Lynx some trouble. But then Reese's decisions started to spiral. She forced risky passes into traffic, ignored easy outlets, and tried to do too much with the ball in her hands. And the result? Turnover after turnover.
Rock song goes, "Every day I'm shuffling. Do, 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 do. Bang! I know it's construction season and all, but who called in the bulldozer?"
And let's be clear, these weren't high-pressure steals. They weren't forced by defensive greatness. These were mental errors, poor reads, lazy passes, sloppy fundamentals, traveling violations, missed footwork, panicked ball handling. These are the kind of mistakes that derail possessions and destroy momentum. Minnesota didn't even have to try hard. Reese practically handed them the game.
Angel Reese is the double-double queen. They got the brakes beat off of them last night by the Minnesota Lynx. Angel Reese's double-double, I think 11 points, 11 rebounds, was meaningless and insignificant.
Coaches around the league saw that film and took notes. They saw an exploitable pattern. They realized that if they pressed Angel Reese just a little, she would break. And they were right. Teams began targeting her, forcing her into ball-handling situations she wasn't ready for, exposing her decision-making. They built game plans around making her uncomfortable, and it worked. Because that Minnesota game wasn't a fluke. It was a symptom of a bigger issue.
For nearly 2 seasons in the WNBA, the only thing Angel Reese has proven is she can't win games. Angel Reese is not an impact player. She's not someone you can rely on to carry a team to a championship. The Chicago Bravado.
Game after game, Reese put up strong rebounding numbers. But the wins weren't there. Turnovers, missed rotations, mental lapses. These things kept piling up, and Chicago's record kept falling. The coaching staff, they kept spinning the narrative. They pointed to double-doubles, to hustle, to effort. But they ignored the real issue. Her mistakes were costing them games. The numbers looked shiny, but the win column didn't lie. And then the stat that really flipped the conversation came out. When Angel Reese plays under 30 minutes, the Sky actually win more games? That's devastating. The team plays better when their star plays less. The offense flows. Players move the ball. Everyone gets touches. It's not just that Reese isn't helping. The numbers suggest she might be hurting the team's chemistry and effectiveness. This flies in the face of every headline, every social media clip, and every highlight package. We were told that Angel Reese was the foundation of Chicago's future. But the more she plays, the worse they perform. When she sits, the team rallies. They look like a unit, and that's not a coincidence. It leads to an uncomfortable truth. Is Chicago playing Reese because she helps them win, or because her name draws attention? Is the team prioritizing basketball success or building a brand? Reese's presence coincides with multiple blowouts. Losses by 30, 40, even more. And her most loyal supporters still refuse to see the pattern. As one analyst bluntly said, if Angel Reese is your best player, your team's not going to win. And right now, the numbers back that up 100%. Her double-doubles are empty calories, high-volume stats with no nutrition. They look good, they sound good, but they don't mean anything when the result is a loss. This entire situation speaks volumes about where the WNBA is heading. Do we want a league that rewards loud branding and surface-level stats? Or do we want one that values real leadership, basketball IQ, and team-first players? Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark now represent 2 different roads, and only one of those roads leads to championships. Candace Parker didn't try to tear Reese down. She just told the truth that everyone else was too afraid to say. Now, the conversation has shifted. People are waking up. They're starting to see past the box score and look at real impact. Reese's game isn't evolving. Meanwhile, players like Clark, Boston, Mitchell, and Hull are rising together, building something real in Indiana. Caitlyn Clark's rookie year changed everything. She made the league better, brought in millions of viewers, became an all-star captain, and helped transform the Fever into a playoff-caliber team. That's the difference. That's what winning looks like. Meanwhile, Chicago is left asking questions. Hard questions about whether Angel Reese is really the future they thought she was. If you agree with Candace Parker, type baby giraffe in the comments. Like the video, subscribe for more deep dives, and click on the next one, because the truth doesn't stop here.